Hey there everyone, this is Michael Dougal, the Nootropic Reviewer, and in this video today I'm going to share with you 6 nootropic stacks to live life fearlessly. Don't try them all at once. The idea with these stacks is that you can choose them based on your nootropic experience. Like if you're somebody that maybe doesn't respond so well to the herbal nootropics, then don't consider using that one. You can use something maybe a bit more stimulatory. And the very first nootropic stack is comprised of Alpha-GPC, Noopept, and Rhodiola rosea. And in terms of just how effective this nootropic stack is, I would rate it like 6 out of 10. It's definitely not the strongest thing, but that may be a good thing because if you're somebody that's naturally energetic and you just need some nootropics that would help you with some of the more complex tasks, then this is a great nootropic stack. We have Alpha-GPC, which is a form of choline, and choline being a great nutrient to really help with energy levels, to help with like mental fatigue, really help you get through those longer work days. And with this nootropic stack, what's great is if you want, you can have it once a day, but then again, it's not that strong, so you can even have it like twice a day if you choose to. And Noopept is a great nootropic for motivation, for energy levels, for clearer thinking. You'll find that when you're using Noopept, it's not like super stimulatory, but naturally you're just more focused on your high priority tasks, and it will help you to stop focusing on some of the lower priority tasks that maybe should be delegated to somebody else. And then we have Rhodiola rosea, which is the best nootropic, or one of the best nootropics anyway, at fighting off fatigue. So one way this nootropic stack is going to help you live life fearlessly is like you will be amazed at how much work you're able to get done in such a short amount of time. Like if you're somebody that's willing to sacrifice, willing to work a little bit hard so you can get more work done in 1 quarter than other people do in 1 year, then Rhodiola rosea is a great nootropic because you're just going to be able to have a clear mind and get a lot more work done. And these are the dosages for this nootropic stack. We have Alpha-GPC at 150 milligrams, we have Noopept at 20 milligrams, and we have Rhodiola rosea at 500 milligrams. Here's the next nootropic stack. This is going to be a little bit more energizing and better socially, like if you're in sales like myself. And it's comprised of caffeine, l-tyrosine, and aniracetam. And then in terms of effectiveness, I would rate this nootropic stack being an 8 out of 10. Caffeine, we know, is really going to energize us, is going to help us be motivated. It's going to give us that euphoria that will give us the courage to move forward. But with that comes a little bit of anxiety, but that's okay. We've got the l-tyrosine, which is as well going to help with energy and with motivation. And from my experience, when you mix l-tyrosine along with caffeine, wow, you feel like twice, even 3 times more motivated. And it's just interesting in that they're both nootropics which can bring out a little bit of anxiety, but you just don't mind because your goals are so much bigger than your anxiety that you really don't care. And with aniracetam, what's great about aniracetam is, especially socially, it does help to reduce that anxiety, and it actually makes it such that you want to go ahead and talk to people. Like your verbal fluency is good, your confidence is much better. So that's one good reason why these 3 nootropics do go well together. I really like the fact that with l-tyrosine, it helps to eliminate stress, and as well does help to fight off fatigue, kind of similar to how Rhodiola rosea works. Of course, this is not a nootropic stack you would take too close to bed because, of course, caffeine makes it such that it's going to prevent you from sleeping, or it'll just prevent you from having that deep and rejuvenating sleep that we know you want. And the actual dosages for this nootropic stack would be 100 milligrams of caffeine, 750 milligrams of l-tyrosine, and 500 milligrams of aniracetam. With aniracetam, it's a bit interesting because some people do notice an acute response to it, meaning that they take it and they immediately feel it, like within a few hours. But for some individuals like myself, I need to take aniracetam for a considerable amount of time, even over a week, for me to actually start feeling it. And so I'm somebody that does use 500 milligrams of aniracetam, typically twice a day. You should always feel something from this nootropic stack, but if you don't, you can, of course, increase the caffeine intake. You can go up to like 200 milligrams of caffeine or 300 milligrams of caffeine. Here's the next nootropic stack. This one's all herbal. It's Rhodiola rosea, it's bacopa, and it's ashwagandha. In terms of its effectiveness, I would say it's a 5 out of 10. They sometimes say that the fastest way to grow is to actually grow slowly. And so this is a nootropic stack which is going to help you become a bit more cerebral. It'll help you to address complex problems, kind of similar to the first nootropic stack. Bacopa monnieri is a great nootropic for better handling stress, and a lot of people find that their memory does improve when using it, myself included. And some people actually get this like nice acute response to bacopa monnieri in that they take it, they feel a bit more centered, they feel calm, they feel at peace, and I really like that about bacopa monnieri. I actually use it once during the middle of the day, and I really noticed that it helps me to clear off my mind, help me to forget some of the negative occurrences that have taken place in the earlier portion of the day, and help me to continue to move forward. And then we have ashwagandha, which they say is the king of herbs. It's great for fatigue and really great at handling anxiety, as shown in this survey over here. There's a lot of side effects that are reported with ashwagandha, but for a lot of individuals, they actually use ashwagandha instead of other nootropics, and they do actually see the benefits from them. So this nootropic stack, I'll say it is pretty light. Definitely not stimulatory, or for most people anyway, and it is a great nootropic stack at better handling stress, especially if you're somebody in a high stress job. You're going to really like this one. And the dosages for them would be Rhodiola rosea at 500 milligrams, bacopa monnieri at 500 milligrams, and ashwagandha, depending on the extract that you're taking. I'm using KSM 66, 500 milligrams. Now with ashwagandha, that's the one where you really have to be educated about the different forms of it and how much you should be taking depending on the forms, of which I've talked about more in this video over here. I would recommend that you watch it. And these are some higher dosages for these 3 nootropics. If you're going to take this nootropic stack twice a day, which is actually okay, then I would recommend you reduce the dosages down to something like 300 milligrams. Here's the next nootropic stack. We're going to get a little bit crazy now. We've got phenylpiracetam, we have lion's mane, and we have Alpha-GPC. And this nootropic stack, I would say it's 9 out of 10 in terms of its effectiveness. Phenylpiracetam, you can consider to be one of those like emergency nootropics. You don't use it too often. I'm using it maybe once a week, and what it is responsible for is giving you a lot more energy and mental clarity, and also reducing anxiety levels. So phenylpiracetam, just even a small dose under 100 milligrams right under the tongue, seems to be very effective for a lot of people. And where this nootropic stack is going to be great is if it's one of those days, maybe you're extra fatigued, perhaps you're a bit jet lagged, you need some physical energy. That's what phenylpiracetam is really good for. Lion's mane, we know it to be one of the more popular nootropic mushrooms that really helps with anxiety, also helps to become a bit more present. And something I love about lion's mane is I find myself a lot less attached to the outcome. I'm finding myself more curious in things. I'm finding that I actually have a desire to want to do things long term, and I want to ensure that my short-term goals are going to be in alignment with my long-term goals and just feel more fulfilled that way. So I found that lion's mane and work just helps me to feel all around a bit more of balance, a lot more in alignment, and so I like that nootropic as well. And with Alpha-GPC, it's not absolutely necessary here, but with Alpha-GPC, it serves for a good nootropic to have when you're using some of the stronger supplements out there, like phenylpiracetam for one. You'll find that Alpha-GPC to kind of be like filling more fuel to your gas tank, and that's really how it feels. And the way that I use this nootropic stack is I use phenylpiracetam at 100 milligrams, I'm using lion's mane at 500 milligrams, and then I'm using Alpha-GPC again at 150 milligrams. And then our next nootropic stack is going to be comprised of phosphatidylserine, l-tyrosine, and Alpha-GPC. And this is like the best nootropic stack I see, is getting more energy without using a stimulant like caffeine or dynamine or phenylpiracetam, because you do feel somewhat energized from it. Phosphatidylserine being especially useful if you're in a stressed out state. It's one of the only nootropic supplements out there that actually effectively reduces cortisol levels. So if you're somebody with maybe higher cortisol levels, perhaps you haven't slept well, then what so is phosphatidylserine can be a great supplement for you. And so with phosphatidylserine, I really do enjoy using it along with caffeine, but in this stack over here, using it with l-tyrosine also makes for a good pair together. And then we have Alpha-GPC, because Alpha-GPC, like I mentioned, works well with everything. Unfortunately, with this stack, it's a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes it really works well, sometimes it doesn't work well. So if you try it once and it doesn't work well, maybe try it the next time, it might work a little bit better. Like with me, especially, phosphatidylserine does work well, like I mentioned, when I'm sleep deprived. And the common serving size of phosphatidylserine is 100 milligrams to 200 milligrams. For this stack specifically, I would say 200 milligrams is a great use. L-tyrosine, 750 milligrams, that's good. But with l-tyrosine, sometimes you only find it in 500 milligram capsules, that's okay as well. And then we have Alpha-GPC, stick to 150 milligrams. And the overall effectiveness of this nootropic stack, I would say, is only like going to be a 4 out of 10. You can always add some caffeine just to spice things up, give yourself a little bit more energy, but let me know if you think differently about this one. And our nootropic snack number 6 for living life fearlessly is going to be modafinil. Of course, how could we forget modafinil, and Alpha-GPC. I'll rate it a 9 out of 10, a bit similar to phenylpiracetam. I see them good both that way, in that you can use either of these nootropics and really feel the benefits throughout the whole course of the day. And I actually still use modafinil about once a week, sometimes twice a week, just depending on how the week goes. I really like using modafinil when I'm traveling, because like traveling, it's very fatiguing, and with modafinil, you'll find that you have good energy levels. You can easily task switch. That's what I like about it. So this is definitely one of the more stronger nootropic stacks. So modafinil has a lot of side effects, which is what gets people away from it. But with modafinil, it's also so inconsistent that the more you use modafinil, the more often you use it, and the more different settings you use it in, the more you better get to understand what it actually does. But for me, it looks like I'm in a much better mood. I have faster processing speed. I can read faster. I get a lot more done, and I'm able to focus on the high priority activities. I really don't have any interest in my social life, or really any interest in doing anything that's away from my main goals and my main targets. So I don't recommend modafinil. I think you should really educate yourself about what it is and what its side effects are. I've talked more about modafinil in this video over here, but definitely one great tool to keep in your toolbox. And the actual dosage for these nootropics is using modafinil at 100 milligrams, and then use Alpha-GPC at 150 milligrams, but take Alpha-GPC twice a day. So that's what the stack looks like. You're not taking modafinil twice a day, just the Alpha-GPC twice a day, because if you don't, then modafinil is going to give you really bad headaches, and Alpha-GPC may make it such that you'll still feel those headaches, but it probably won't be as bad. And make sure that you hydrate a lot with this nootropic stack. If you want to see my whole nootropic nootropic stack, like the NZT48 stack, I've talked about it in this video right over here. You're definitely going to find that informative. And if you did get value from this video, consider subscribing, drop a comment, drop a like, and if you'd like to chat with me one-on-one, you can do so over on Patreon or send me a direct message on Instagram. And don't forget to visit our Discord server. We have got a 24/7 chat room. We're having a lot of fun and answering questions in a time-sensitive fashion. And I thank you for your interest in nootropics, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.